Greetings, everyone, and welcome. September the 29th, 2025. And yes, we are this close to World War III. Over the last 24 hours, we have had some significantly bold statements made by people such as Keith Kellogg, the Ukrainian envoy from the United States. In addition to that, Donald Tusk. We are hearing incredibly bold statements coming from India in regard to oil purchase, additional information about Tomahawks and the Russian war economy. You put all of that together, and I believe over the next 7 or 8 minutes, I'm going to confirm the title and the video content for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing. Let's jump right into it. As you see here, the image of Keith Kellogg, this close, confirmed. Now the question is why? Keith said yesterday, Mr. Kellogg, General Kellogg, look, I think we really need to understand the seriousness of this war. This is not a European issue. This is a global issue, unprecedented warfare. Here is the video. Listen very closely to what he says.
I think everyone needs to understand the seriousness of this war. This war is the largest war in Europe since the end of World War II. It's between the two geographically largest countries in Europe, with Ukraine and Russia. The casualties are well over 1 million. We're talking hundreds of thousands. They're using the most advanced systems in the world, bombers, missiles, the drone technology. It's really advanced, and sometimes I think we don't realize how serious this is. And my biggest concern is that a mistake can happen, and that causes for a larger escalation, be it the attacks by the drones into Poland or the aircraft that are overflying Estonia, whatever it's going to be. You have to be very, very careful about it. And when I was up at the UN this last week, I talked to the National Security Advisor for the Japanese, Masataka Okano, and he said, hey, by the way, make sure you understand this is internationalized. Yeah. And what he meant by that is, he said, in our neck of the woods, the Chinese are being very, very aggressive about it, as are the North Koreans. So this is just not only a European issue. This is a global issue, and I think sometimes we forget that.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a global issue. He's even sharing with us the information coming out of Japan, there in Asia, looking at China, looking at North Korea, looking at different things that are happening in that region of the world. And he even speaks about a false flag event. You know, it could be a plane coming in, it could be a drone, but something's going to happen. And if we're not careful with how we handle it, we could instantly be escalated to the next level, ladies and gentlemen, which is World War III. Now, in addition to that, we are hearing more and more rumblings that the Tomahawks may come. Vance yesterday speaking about it. It will ultimately come down to a decision by Donald Trump, but now Russia is speaking about it. They stated, if Tomahawk missiles are supplied, this represents a fundamental change to the war. Tomahawks can be fielded as delivery vehicles for nuclear warheads. Moscow is analyzing and waiting for results. I think this is one area that maybe the world's not thinking about, because yes, Tomahawks, great missiles, able to reach long distances, strike targets very accurately, but they are capable and designed to carry a nuclear warhead. Here on the graphic, you can see the range changes, and this would be for the missile. Moscow, nothing. Very, very easy. It would reach deep into Russia, giving Ukraine a completely different weapon to use in the defense of their nation and their fight for freedom. In addition to that, I'm trying to lay as many facts on you guys on this Monday as possible. The Russian war economy. This is not year over year. This is the fourth quarter, 2022. That would have been 9 months into the war versus the first quarter, 2025. Russia multiplies weapons and military equipment output number per quarter. You can see in the light blue column, 2022, 123 tanks per quarter, now 444, a 260% increase. Fighting and mobility vehicles, 585 versus 1,641, 180% gain. Artillery, 60 versus 168, 180% gain. Short range air defense, 9 versus 30. And remember, this is quarter by quarter, 233% increase. And Lancet loitering munition, this is for drone warfare, 93 versus 336, 261% increase. The source of this is the Kiel Institute for the World Economy. We can see all of these factors coming together. Now we take and add another piece to the puzzle, and that is Donald Tusk. This is the Polish Prime Minister. He stated, whether someone likes it or not, this is our war. He stated the conflict in Ukraine, a fight not just out of solidarity, but as a fundamental interest of Poland, Europe, the United States, and the entire world. Once again, right along the theme with what I'm sharing today from multiple sources, multiple nations, but don't take it from me, hear it from Donald Tusk himself here. These places in the world. That is why, whether someone likes it or not, this is our war, not only because of solidarity with those who are under attack, but because of our fundamental interest. If we lose this war, because we must speak in the first person, then the consequences will affect not only our generation, but also the next generations in Poland and in all of Europe and the United States, everywhere in the world. Let's have no illusions about this. That's at the Warsaw Security Forum just today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's now a second source talking about world issues, world conflict, not just regional between Ukraine and Russia, not just regional including Europe, but global, including the United States and the entire world. This is what we're facing, and we cannot stick our head in the sand like an ostrich. Eyes must be wide open because the signs are there. Now we must respond properly. One of the things that Donald Trump had hoped would stop the Russian war machine was tariffs and sanctions on India. Well, that's not going to work. We've all known it, but now we have more confirmation of this. So I have shared with you today Kellogg, the Tomahawk issue, the war economy of Russia, the statements from Donald Tusk. Now, if we look at the financial aspect, hopefully, putting the pressure on India will stop the war machine. Forget about it. This is General Naravani. He is the former chief of staff. He was being interviewed. He says nobody can dictate who India can do deals with. You cannot tell us any longer who we may buy oil from. We make our own decisions that is best for our nation and not your selfish interest. That is a direct statement to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Here's the video.
Yes, you get huge amounts of oil and gas very cheaply off Russia, but is becoming energy dependent on Russia, which is a dictatorship, which is an unstable dictatorship, which does invade other countries, is that the smart thing for India to do? Because your economy is now stapled to a country that could turn around on you and do just the same thing.
It is not that we are totally energy dependent on Russia. We are importing from many other countries in the world. But again, impositions are placed on don't buy from Venezuela, don't buy from Iran, don't buy from Russia. Then who do we buy from? Only those that you want us to buy from for your own selfish interests. How can that be acceptable to any self-respecting person or country? So, we'll do what we want to do. And I think we have reached that stage where we don't have to listen to anybody else.
We will do what we want to do. You tell us we can't buy from Russia. We can't buy from Iran. We can't buy from Venezuela. Who are we to buy from? You? You see, this is where we're at. so much rhetoric over the last 9 months coming from DC in regard to this war. I'm thankful for the apparent shift that is happening. Now, forget the words. We need to see the action follow up with it. But as I've shared with you over this update, those actions may have consequences that will put the world on the edge of WW3. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing. We appreciate each and every one of you. Be blessed on top of a lot of things unfolding right now.